breaking news in Michigan, where the chief of police in Grand Blanc says one person is dead, 9 others hurt after a shooter drove through a church and set it on fire, he says. Let's listen in.
And how it got started. So we believe it was deliberately set, though, by the suspect.
Were they in an active service when this happened?
Yes, the service was active. There was hundreds of people within the church.
Are you sure it's only one suspect at this point, or is it possible other people helped setting the fire?
Yes, it is one suspect that we know of at this point. We do not believe that there's a threat to the public. We believe that we have the guy who did this.
Eddie?
Sir.
Could you comment at all on the severity of the injuries at this time?
We have a couple in critical condition. Like I said, one is deceased. The rest of them are in stable condition.
So a couple, maybe 3 or 2, I'm sorry?
One deceased. The suspect is deceased as well. And then multiple victims are in critical condition. We do believe that we will find some additional victims once we find the area where the fire was.
Any word on the weapon yet?
An assault rifle.
So, Eddie, as far as ammunition, did he have a lot of ammunition?
That I don't know of yet, and I could get you later.
Okay.
Hey.
Was the suspect known to authorities, and did he have any connection to anyone who was in that church?
Right now, we don't have that information, but I'm confident that our investigators, along with the FBI, we're going to end up uncovering all that information and provide that at a later time for you.
Chief, to clarify, you said there may be additional victims like inside the church? Or?
Yes, where the fire was. So, and the reason why we can't confirm that just yet is because it was a large fire, and we do believe that there was people up there that were near that fire, and they were unable to get out of the church. So we do believe that we will find additional victims once we're able to search that, once there's no signs of a fire reigniting.
So do you believe that the victims that are still there, they succumbed to fire injuries or gunshots, or you're not sure?
That I'm not sure, but I could provide all that information hopefully at 5 p.m.
The shots were fired.
Shots were fired, yes.
And he had no idea how many, though, at this point?
No idea how many at this time. Yeah.
Can you describe the church? Is there like a worship area and then like a gathering space or something like that?
That I have not been in, so I can't tell you the layout.
Chief, can you kind of describe the process of how things change for tactical response when there's an active fire? Every training I've seen, it's always been a building that has not been on fire. So how do you then deal with an active shooter when you have that situation happening as well?
Well, we are here at Grand Blanc Township, and there's a lot of agencies within the state of Michigan. We are specifically trained to go right to the threat in an active shooter situation. And I'm proud of my guys and the DNR who responded to this scene, who immediately took that suspect out, so there was no additional victims. So it was a great job by our staff. Okay.
So it was a law enforcement officer that neutralized the suspect?
Yes, there was 2 law enforcement officers involved. I will be back here at 5 p.m. to give you additional information and hopefully answer some of the questions that you guys went over here today. So, okay. Supervisor Bennett.
I could just go sit in here. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. Sorry.
Well, Scott Bennett, Grand Blanc Township Supervisor. Scott, S-C-O-T-T, Bennett, B-E-N-N-E-T-T. First, let me say we are heartbroken. This kind of violence doesn't happen in our community, and we are heartbroken that it came to Grand Blanc Township. And we're going to do everything we can to support the families, the victims, and our community getting through this situation. And it's something that no community ever wants to have. And we're going to do our best to do everything we can. We appreciate the outpouring of support from our elected leaders from both national and state in offering their assistance, and we probably will take them up on their offers. So we appreciate that very much, and we appreciate the community reaching out to us also. So the details are yet to come, as Chief Rennie has said. and we'll wait for a little bit later today when we have the rest of the situation assessed. But it may take a little while to do that. But thank you for all the support, and I'm sure that the families and the victims are going to need that. It's a tragedy that nobody wants to encounter. Thank you.
Chief, before you step out, can you go over the process for family members, where you want them to go, who they should call to get more information, reunification?
Yeah, so those family members, they are in a secure area right now. They have been taken over to Trillium, so that's where the FBI will interview them and then release them from there. So.
I mean, in terms of anybody who might be at home who is not there, who wants to check in to see if their loved one is okay, is there a number or a place that you want them to go?
Yes, you could call the Grand Blanc Township Police Department, 810-424-2611. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
So the chief of police there in Grand Blanc, the township supervisor as well, Scott Bennett, as you're looking at some of the images, just horrific, coming out of that Church of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township, set on fire by the suspected shooter, according to police. What else are we hearing? That this suspect, 40-year-old male, drove a car through the church. 10 people were shot. One of them is dead. A couple, some unknown number, likely 2 or 3 based on police. A couple, he says, are in critical condition. The rest are in stable condition. They do believe that the suspect set the fire inside the church, and you can see just what an active scene that has been. The fire appears to be engulfing most of the church, and this happened, according to the chief of police, while the service was going on inside. Hundreds of people in the building when this shooting happened. Sadly, the chief of police suggests that they may find additional victims as well once they are able to get into the building and assess the extent of the damage and the extent of the loss of life after the shooting. You can see the location of that Latter-day Saints church there just south of Grand Blanc. It's itself basically a suburb of Flint, Michigan. The FBI is investigating. There are 100+ agents involved, and you can see in some of this eyewitness video coming in the smoke billowing into the air. I want to bring in our Maya Eaglin, who's been covering this for us. And Maya, there have been so many questions about this. We do know, and we should say that we heard from the chief of police that officers did essentially take down that suspected shooter, shot and killed him. At least that's what the chief has suggested.
Yeah, correct, Hallie. They're saying there is no longer an active threat to the public at this time, but this all started around 10:25 local time. We're hearing from officials in that presser that, as you mentioned, the 40-year-old male suspect drove his car and then exited the vehicle and then shot several rounds using an assault rifle. There were hundreds of people, according to police there, who were attending service this Sunday morning. And we are still waiting to hear the extent of the damage. We do know that 10 gunshot victims were transported to a hospital. One of those 10 unfortunately died. Some of them are in critical condition, others in stable condition. But authorities have been able to, as you said, neutralize the shooter in this active situation. They're asking folks to avoid the area, even though there is no longer a threat. So much of this is still under investigation. They want to know how this fire started, and officials said they could expect to see more casualties as they really get into that building and see what damage was done inside. So very, very chaotic developing scene in Michigan right now, but there is no longer a threat to the public.
Thank you very much. As mentioned, this is about an hour north of Detroit where this has happened in Michigan. Hundreds, again, or dozens, we should say, about 100+ agents involved in the investigation. You see the map there. We are going to continue to follow the developing news on this. We expect another briefing from police just about 4 hours from now. We will bring that to you when it happens, as well as any other developments throughout the day. We appreciate you being with us, and we'll keep you posted. More on NBC News here at NBC. Talk soon.